on this computer. So welcome everybody. Today we have 31st October 2020. We meet to discuss yet another interesting psychology topic, the racket feelings, or as I like to call it, the cover up. It will be driven by Dr. Gethanjali this time. And we will again get into the topic. We will try and see a little bit of CBT and how the racket feeling could actually create issues in CBT. And then, as always, it's a free flow discussion. We try to build on top of each other's point, share our own experiences, and see how it goes. Today, we also have Vidya joining us. So maybe we start with a small round of introduction, and then we get into the topic. So maybe because I'm speaking, yeah, Vidya.
Hey, hi guys, this is Vidya. So sorry, I'll be on and off the call. I'm kind of living in a remote place, so much of network issues, but I'm quite enthusiastic. Not expecting much. I'm coming from with a blank mind, so let's see how it goes.
Perfect. Welcome, Vidya. So myself, Jemin, study a student for the psychology. I am a CBT and a mindfulness practitioner. Love to talk about psychology and marry the science of psychology and philosophies together. So that's about me. Who want to go
Hi,
next?
everyone. Hi, Vidya. I'm Dr. Gethanjali. Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I'm Dr. Gethanjali. I have done my MBBS and I have done my MBA in hospital administration. I was a neurologist for some time in Manipal Hospital. After that, I took up psychology. I did my foundation course in counseling, and I'm also doing my advanced course in child and teenage counseling, and simultaneously doing my master's in psychology. So very interested in psychology, as you can say. So it's going to be interesting. Thank you.
Gail, want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jemin. So, Vidya and everybody, good evening, good morning. My name is KL Kumar, and my background is I've been a finance and accounting professional for the last 30 plus years. And it's like, call it midlife crisis or whatever, but I wanted to really pursue something which comes as a passion to me, and psychology was something which I always paid a lot of value to, and even in my leadership or leading client engagements or my own teams, I've seen psychology play a huge role in terms of being able to develop people. So it's I wouldn't call it a risk, but certainly an adventure. For my family, that I'm shifting lanes. It is certainly a bold decision, and we'll wait and watch. But as the drama unfolds, very, very interesting times ahead. So,
Absolutely. Pilar, want to go next?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I am Pilar Moreno. People call me Pili. I am a high school teacher, but I am in love with the development of the human soul and the mind and everything that has to do with growth and well-being. And since I work with teenage kids, it's 23 years now teaching high school. I am always looking for ways to be a better help for the kids, to help them do the things that would make them happy. And I have a little creature on the side who is my son, who wants to play with everyone. So he will be participating somehow, if not sabotaging the session. Have a great day.
Alessandra?
Hello, everybody. I am an English teacher, and I am also a psychotherapist from a CBT point of view or framework. And actually, my degree is in psychology. It is what I've always been, well, I've been interested in it since I was a teenager in psychology. And well, I'm studying my master's. I'm pursuing my career in psychology as a therapist. And it's starting to work out, and I'm enjoying it.
Perfect. Thank you, Alessandra. Over to you, doctor. You're on mute, doctor. You're on mute.
Sorry. Okay. Can you hear me?
Get
Okay, so today's topic was basically racket feelings and cover-ups, right? So before we actually get into the racket feelings and cover-ups and deep dive into the actual session, there are 4 questions that I want, 4 to 5 questions I want to ask everybody, for which I want you guys, if possible, to write down the answers or remember the answers. Either one is okay. Just let me know when you're ready.
Yes, doc.
Okay. So the first question is, I mean, first of all, imagine that your entire life was a book. Okay. And I want you to write down the name of that book. That's the first question. Write down the name of the book that is your life. Okay. Second question or second statement. Please write down in one line, what is the book about? Anything that comes to your head. What is the book about? The third statement, which are the 3 predominant emotions that come in your book over and over again? The 3 predominant emotions: anger, sadness, disappointment, whatever, joy. Okay. The fourth question, what emotion would reading this book evoke in the reader? Predominantly. What emotion would this book evoke in the reader? And fifth, how does the story end? The answers to these questions, we'll come back to them a little bit later. Now I'm going to just start with the actual topic, which is racket feelings, right? First of all, I would like to bring to your notice that feelings are very natural. All of us have feelings. I mean, there's no human being who does not have feelings, right? Each feeling has a purpose behind it. This is something that has been proved over and over again, that number one, there are 4 fundamental feelings, right? That is happy, angry, sad, and scared. These are the 4 fundamental feelings that form the foundation of all other feelings. Whatever you say is your feeling comes under these 4 feelings. If you say I'm disappointed, it comes under sadness. I'm elated, it comes under happy, like that, right? So these are the 4 fundamental feelings. And each one of these feelings have a purpose or a reason behind them, right? Taking fear. Why do we have fear? Why does the feeling of fear exist in us? Right? Primarily, the feeling of fear is to protect us. It identifies the flight or fight phenomena and allows us to protect ourselves. Now, if a car or a bike is coming straight at me, or a wild animal is coming straight at me, and I have no fear, You see, I'm in danger. I could be killed right there. I will not run. I will not do it. I'll just say hi and, I'm dead, right? So fear is a very important feeling for protecting ourselves. In the real time, in the here and now, that is what fear does. It protects an individual, right? So that's the purpose of fear. Now, anger, right? What is the feeling of anger, or what is the purpose of anger? Authentic anger is a feeling when somebody has crossed your boundaries. When somebody has, yeah, Alessandra, you were saying something? Okay.
I was just agreeing with you that it's that a lot of times people don't get that, but that is the biggest signal we have when somebody does cross our boundaries, that feeling of anger. And a lot of times we try to dismiss it.
Right, exactly. So the purpose of anger is the best example I can give for anger is a territorial animal, like a lion or a tiger or something. If you see any of these African savanna movies or something, you will see that there is a tiger or there's a lion with his pride, and another lion comes from the outside. Immediately what happens? There is massive fighting that going on between the two, anger, and he defends his territory, right? So you cross a boundary, the reaction is anger, and you protect your boundaries, you protect your loved ones. Basically, that's what anger does, right? So in the here and now, anger is for when somebody feels threatened or boundaries crossed. Third one is joy. This is very easy. In the here and now, joy is something happy, something that makes you elated, something that makes you glad, joyful, something that you enjoy, right? And why does happy exist? Happiness exists to make you or make an individual aware or be thankful for the surroundings, for his whatever he has, and that internally helps his entire body reach a level of homeostasis where he's able to maintain. Like stress disbalances it, grief disbalances it, but happiness maintains that homeostasis in the entire body. So that's what happiness is about. And then we have sadness. Now, sadness is the way we react to loss. And this can be any kind of loss. It doesn't have to be the loss of a person or a loss of any individual in your life or any pet or any living thing for that matter. It could be the loss of a space. Like if you move from one city to another or one school to another or one job to another, it's a loss. Now the girl marries and moves from her parents' house to her in-laws' house or with her husband, that's a loss, right? You lose a good friendship, that's a loss. You lose a sense of security, that's a loss. So sadness is there to help you go through the process of grief. And when this process is experienced, that's when the loss is being able to be embodied and kind of taken in and dealt with. And this does not disbalance the homeostasis. So when a person is sad, it's a good idea for that person to realize, what am I sad about? What have I lost that I'm sad about? And give attention to that loss, right? So these are the 4 feelings, and these are the reasons we have the feelings. Now, let's come to reality, right? How many of us have experienced these feelings in the here and now, any of these feelings for that matter, and were confident enough to express them, especially in our formative years? Let's see, in our teen years, adolescent years, early 20s, how many of us have been confident to express sadness for that matter, or happiness, like really being elated, right? Or fear? And how many of us have covered it up with another feeling? For example, if I am angry at somebody, let's say my mom, right? What have I done? I have not yelled at her, I have not screamed at her. I have started crying. I have gone to my room, I have sat down and felt sorry for myself, I've felt sad for myself, and I have cried my eyes out. That is a racket feeling. A feeling that I was not allowed to express, whether it is anger, whether it is sadness, whether it is joy, whatever it is. I substituted another feeling for that and I expressed that. That is known as a racket feeling, right? Now, I want you guys to think of an example of a racket feeling which comes to mind right now. It could be your own, could be somebody else. And let me know. I mean, let's talk about an example.
In my personal case, I have it with anger. I use anger to cover up feeling hurt.
Right.
For example, with my ex-husband, it was when we were getting a divorce, it was like a very dominant feeling, the anger. But underneath that anger, there was a lot of pain, a lot of sadness because of the loss of the relationship, his betrayal with another woman, etc.
Right. Right. So that's a very, very good example of covering up one feeling with another feeling, right? Anybody else? Can you think of anything that you went through?
I mean, maybe I don't know if it's, there was this opportunity or, I'm sure all of us have gone through this, but, when I was actually courting a beautiful young girl at that point in time, and I was also just out of college and all of that, we were probably almost married or going to get married rather. Mm-hmm. And it couldn't materialize because of, difference in religion and all of that. Mm-hmm. Probably I lacked the courage to take it up with my parents and actually solemnize the marriage. But we kind of, probably on both sides, we faked happiness that, we were clever enough to ensure or validate that this is not going to work out and was going to be a failure in terms of both the families not probably accepting or understanding. So there was certainly sadness, but every time we met, we were almost, playing or, wanting to portray as if we were happy with the decision that was taken.
Okay. So you used happiness to cover the sadness.
Yeah, I mean, imagine what a disaster it could have been, or your parents may have been disappointed, or on my side, my parents, because her dad was a heart patient at that point in time. So, it was almost like, thanks, I think we took a good decision. We didn't cause any harm to his health and that kind of stuff. Although, so both of us were probably trying to hide that sadness.
Right. Right. Thank you, Gail. Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, for me,
yeah. So,
yeah, Vidya, go on.
Oh, sorry, Jemin.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. My childhood, I had to stay away from my parents for a good reason that my sister was having health issues. I knew deep inside I was sad, but whenever I had to share it with my mom, I don't know why I took it more on my mom rather than my dad. I always felt that she was supposed to be next to me, but I never said it to her, spoke to her for a very, very long time. Instead of going and telling her that I was sad, I always portrayed an anger thing. Any small thing that happened, I always had a big fight with her. I think I used anger at that point of time while I was actually very sad.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, Jemin?
Very, very similar example from my side. And Dr. Pitch, tell me when we want to switch into the CBT topic. But yeah, I think there was a time in my life when it was the last year of my engineering, and so I had lost my dad when I was in 9th standard, etc. And then these finances took nosedive, etc. So there was a time, long story short, where I had to get a job, get on my feet, and start handling the family. There, one of the primary things I had as a feeling, now that I think back, when we talk about racket feelings, is I was extremely nervous, extremely nervous. But that was covered by my portrayal of overconfidence to everybody, saying, don't worry about it. I will handle, things will fall in place. And that exhausted me at the end of the day, which I couldn't tell anybody. Yeah? But now I understand that the cover up of, yes, I will handle it, and I'm not vulnerable, the coconut analogy, right? So that, I think that was more or less, I think, my part of the racket feeling, one of the racket feeling experiences. Yeah.
Right. So I noticed you use the word nervousness, and you use the word confidence, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you see in the feeling wheel, if you guys are aware of the feeling wheel, where the four fundamental feelings are divided into quite a few other feelings with respect to the different kinds of things that you can feel. If you see, the nervousness comes under fear. So we're talking about, when he spoke about nervousness, we are fundamentally talking about the fear. So the fear was covered up by confidence and being able to portray that feeling of, I'm there, don't worry, everything will be okay. That is, in a way, not exactly, but that comes under the bracket of happiness. So there is fear, which was covered by the happiness, right? So now I think you guys are getting a little bit of idea of what exactly are racket feelings, right?
Yeah. Doc, if I can just interrupt you for a minute with your permission. Why do racket feelings come in the first place? I mean, is there a construct or a framework or a background to this that, we are not actually emitting what should have been the feelings that should have come out true to that particular situation, right? Is it more of a fear psychosis that's playing out these or enabling these racket feelings to come out?
Yeah. Let me just
and
explain.
how do you know you will never? Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead. KL, finish that thought.
Yeah. So is it something that will actually improve upon over a period of time, where you will say, okay, I was at, let us say, 1 on 10 on racket feelings, and today maybe I'm 0 on 10. So my feelings are more true to what I feel at that point in time when an event happens.
Okay. So great. So let me, that's basically what the rest of my talk was about. So let me just address the first one you asked about why we actually get these racket feelings, right? Now, according to Eric Berne, right, there is something that is known as a life script, right? Remember the 5 questions I asked you and told you to write the answer to, right? Just read up those 5 questions, right? Especially the answer to probably the first question as to what is the name of your book, and the second last question as to what feelings does this evoke in the person who's reading this book. Okay, it'll give you an idea of what your life script is. Now, life script is a belief about life that starts very early, probably in the pre-verbal stage. And by the age of 7 years, your life script is set with respect to the behavior of the adults around you. The parents, the significant other adults around you will give you a certain life script. Now, different kinds of life script include things like don't exist. This could be a fundamental life script. For example, if a baby is unplanned and the baby is born and there's a lot of talk going on, oh, I wish we didn't have this baby and then we could have our life so good. Oh my God, now we have to think about this baby. And these kind of talks in the early years of the baby's life will give it a script that says, don't exist. Or if it's in India, if it's a girl child, I'm not talking about maybe in the urban community, maybe in the rural community. If it's a girl child, oh my God, why did I have a girl? What are we going to do with this girl now? It's a girl, I wish it was a boy, This is an example of don't exist, right? There are certain other life scripts like that, which says things like, don't be who you are, right? So suppose you're a very jovial, extrovert person and you have parents in your life or significant adults in your life, or if you're going to a Catholic school that says, no, don't get so happy. Don't get so sad. Be neutral. Yeah, you know, I'm sure you'll be able to tell me that, right? Isn't that what they say? They said, okay, if you're happy, don't show so much happiness. Chill. Okay, be at the level, you know. So don't be who you are. That's another script. Don't grow up is another script. Where does don't grow up come? For example, if I have a baby and I do everything for that baby, starting from feeding to changing, right at the time he gets married. You know, so I'm telling him, don't grow up. I will look after you. Now he gets married and he, you know, goes to has this thing and he's complete mess. Yeah. He can't do anything for himself. Right? So I have given him that life script. He will never be able to take care of himself. So that's don't grow up. Another one is, there are so many like that. There is don't make it. Don't be important. Don't belong. Don't be close to anyone. Or don't think, just listen. Don't apply your own mind, just listen. So these are the different kinds of life scripts. Now, I don't know if any of you is identifying any life script in your life from whatever I have. Okay. Now, how does life script relate to racket feelings, right? Racket feelings are the ones that keep you in your life script, right? Now, for example, I'll give you an example of, let's say, don't exist. Let's say that's your life script, don't exist, right? And a girl in your life comes and says, I mean, this is for the guys, of course, a girl, or it could be for girls too, who cares? girl comes to your life and says, hey, you know what? You're the light of my life. I am alive because of you. If you are not in my life, I would not exist. I would die. And then this individual whose life script is don't exist, you're not important, nobody cares about you. You know what he or she's going to do in this scenario? Push this person away. Get angry. You know, that feeling, the feeling that words that person said is supposed to evoke happiness in you, right? Somebody is saying they can't live without you. What is this person doing? He's putting the happiness down and bringing anger up. And he's like, you know what? Don't smother me. Don't stay away. Don't come near me. Don't get so close. You see what's happening here? By doing this individual, he's staying in his script, which is don't exist. Don't be important. Don't think. He remains in his script. So the racket feelings have a way of keeping us in our script, because it is such a strong belief that my life script is such a strong belief that I bring about these racket feelings to keep me in that script. You can like kind of relate this to any of your life experiences and see if what I'm saying kind of makes sense.
Doc, this is a beautiful example. So let's say this girl was in a true feeling or state of true feeling, right? And let's say the boy or the guy was in a state of a racket feeling, right? So would one ultimately be influencing the other, or how would this actually pan out in the end? So like the girl says, okay, I cannot live a life without you. And let's say at that point in time, this boy develops some sort of racket feelings. It could be whatever, cold feet, or, let's say his parents take all the decisions, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, how does it generally lead into, from a conclusion standpoint?
It depends on the level of awareness and also the existence of their own life scripts. What is the girl's life script? We don't know, right? The girl's life script could be, don't be important, right? If the girl's life script is don't be important, and the boy's life script is don't exist, and he rejects her, she goes into a depression. She's like, okay, so I have been rejected again. I'm not important. You see, she also went into her own racket feeling or her own life script, right? So this works in different ways for different people. It depends on what individual life scripts are, right? Now, the next question you asked me, and by the way, there's a very important thing called what is known as reinforcing memories, right? When a person goes through one of these instances where a racket feeling comes up, okay? And if the other person behaves in the way this person's life script kind of dictates, for example, in this scenario, in this example, if the guy says, what the hell are you talking about? Leave me alone, go away, don't be so smothering, blah, blah. And because of her life script being, don't be important, she backs off, right? This guy is like, see, nobody loves me. I was right. I shouldn't exist. I don't bring joy to anybody. You see, it is reinforcing his belief in his life script.
Life script, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what happens. It's like, unfortunately, it's a vicious cycle, right? Should we wait for Alessandra?
No, I think let's keep going. She's in again.
I think she's back. Okay.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Okay. So, racket feelings, they come, there are two different kinds. Okay, not two different kinds, two different parts to it, right? One is the actual feeling, and one is the rackety feeling or the rackety display. It comes out as a observable behavior. The feeling may be sadness, which is authentic. The behavior is slapping somebody or getting angry or throwing things around, right? That is observable behavior, which represents the racket feeling, which is anger, right? It doesn't have, I mean, you can't see anger, right? You can only see the person's behavior, right? So the behavior depicts the racket feeling of the person, whereas the underlying feeling could be something else. So racket feeling, we divided into authentic feeling, the feeling of racket covering the authentic feeling, and the observable behavior of the person, which shows the racket feeling to the outside world. Okay? All right. So any questions so far?
Yes, doctor.
Yes.
I was also wondering how much would a society contribute to the record? In society, there are feelings that tend to be more socially acceptable than others, and they go teaching you that even since you're a small child. How they, for example, they go teaching you not, don't cry, or if you're going to get angry, go to your room.
Yes.
And different things like that. They go teaching you when and how certain feelings are acceptable and when they're not.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely right. Which is what develops the entire universe of racket feelings for an individual. It could come from anywhere. It of course comes from the significant adults when he's of a tender age or she's of a tender age, but then it doesn't stop there. For example, if I'm a person who's very used to showing my authentic feelings and people in my life have validated it and they have, you know, I've grown up in that way. And now I enter a corporate environment, right, where they say that we don't care about your authentic feelings, you know, just do what is required, your boss tells you to do, you know. So there I start my racket feeling, maybe, you know, it starts showing my racket. I could get angry, but since he's my boss, I will show, you know, that feeling is this one under, let's say submissiveness, or this one of, okay, so yes, no, I will do it. So that's fear. That's the racket feeling, right?
And
will there be a change or your life script being rewritten at that point in time? So let's say this typical example, you know, you would have been a creative kid in school and your parents would have encouraged you. But once you enter the corporate world, let's say, you know, you are clearly told these are the SLAs, this is the contract, don't get too creative, just deliver, and etc. etc. So does your life script get changed, you know, within the four walls of, let's say, a corporate environment, or I mean, what happens? Because
no, but even in that scenario, if you look at it, KL, if your life script is sorry, Pilar is saying something. If your life script is to be a happy, authentic person, right?
Yeah.
You may show that racket feeling in the presence of your boss, but when you go back to your colleagues,
Okay.
they see the authentic you. They see the person who is whom you would like to, if that is your life script. Right.
Okay.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is, the racket feeling may exist for a short duration of time with a certain person at a certain circumstance, and finally you enter back into your original, authentic feeling at some point, which is in line with your life script.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pilar, can you ask that question, Pilar, so that we can all hear it?
Well, something that I have been following, a parallel between the doctor and my mind, has to do with the way we start creating patterns. For example, my mother had a pattern of lying about everything, so reality would fit. So lying about the things that happened and the way she told the things that they were, had me for decades doubting my sanity. To cut it short, no, you are not afraid. You are a coward, but you are not afraid. You don't feel fear. You are a coward, but you don't. How can you be a coward without feeling fear? So it was like that. So there was no way. The patterns of thought, of the traps that we put in our minds, like transparent plastic over and over and over and over, until you have this cocoon that's asphyxiating you in the inside and distorting all reality around you. And that's it.
That's actually probably what each and every one of us go through, right? In different scenarios in life, whether it's with our boss in a job, or whether it's with our husband at home, or whether it's with our parents who are living with us. There is always some sort of an interaction which is fundamental, which has begun from the time we know that individual. Of course, depending upon our life script, we tend to react in a certain way. And like you said, that forms a pattern. For example, let's take domestic abuse, right? When a person, when a husband, I'm sorry, I know women also domestically abuse, I know that, but I'm just taking the conventional example now. Let's say a man comes home, it's a pattern. Every weekend he comes home dead drunk and he beats up his wife. That's a pattern. And she knows this happens, right? She knows this happens. I'm taking this example because I just started reading this book called A Time of Mercy, A Time for Mercy by John Grisham. It's his latest book, which talks about this, domestic abuse. So she knows this is going to happen. She knows this is the pattern, but she's unable to do anything different to change what's going to happen. Because probably, since she is a domestic abuse victim, I am mindfully assuming that she is in that script that says that I am not important. My feelings don't matter. I'm not visible. I should not be seen. Right? So if she is in that script and he is in the script about, he's also probably in a script that says that I'm not important, whatever. He tries to show his importance by hitting on her. The insecurity comes out, right? So this is a pattern. And this repeats over and over and again until, and there definitely is a time, if the pattern is repeating over, until a time when either one of those individuals breaks the pattern. Either by head-on confrontation, by saying that this cannot go on anymore, or by probably retreating completely from the situation, which in this case could be the lady just runs away or something like that. There's something that will happen that will break the pattern, especially if it is such a stressful pattern on both sides, right? A tight-knit, stressful pattern. Now, coming to the question about what KL asked is whether this is permanent or can it be changed? The racket feelings, right? Are we doomed to survive under racket feelings without showing our authenticity? Or can we actually show our authentic self at some point of time, right? There is something that comes with awareness, okay? With I would say a lot of counseling, a lot of talking, a lot of reading, a lot of being aware about all these things, something that is known as the autonomy structure or the autonomy this thing. So wherein a person is taught to have positive reinforcement memories, where a person is taught to break his negative reinforcement patterns and develop new patterns, which is positive reinforcement, right? So even if the script cannot be changed. Having said that, you can update the script. Now, if I'm aware that my script is don't exist, right? I'm aware that my script is don't exist. So when a situation arises, when the person says, like 5 people are sitting across a table and all 4 opinions are taken, and before my opinion comes, they're like, okay, so this motion is passed. Let's just go ahead with this. Since I'm aware of my script, that I have a script of don't exist, I will say, excuse me, if you don't mind, I would like to give my opinion nevertheless. You see, and that incident becomes my first positive reinforcement memory, the first brick that is laid. The next time I challenge my script, that becomes the second brick. Then you have a third brick. Then you have a fourth brick. And then all those negative reinforcement kind of gets pushed away, and you have this solid set of positive reinforcement where you can show your authentic feelings. And when I say show your authentic feelings, I don't mean like go and break bones if you're angry. You can very well say that, you know what, right now I am feeling anger towards you. I'm admitting that. If I say anything now, it's not going to go well. So let's talk a little bit later. That is being in the adult ego state, being authentic to my feelings, and kind of taking the pattern taking the road in that way, the path in that way. So that is known as autonomy structure, which helps build your updated life script. And that kind of helps you deal with issues as and when they arise.
Doc, that's a fantastic point you brought out. Thanks for that. Is there a way for me to understand what are my life scripts and what would be occasions that will actually, to the point like you just mentioned, hint or give me a hint that, you don't exist is a life script for you. That's why people choose to ignore you. Is it, are these interrelated? I mean, how do I explore, to know what my life scripts are?
One of the best ways to know what your life script are is answering those 5 questions that I gave you in a little more mindful manner to kind of see what is it that's coming up. For example, let me just, when I first did this particular exercise for myself, let me just share this thing. It says, the name of my book was The Journey of a Lost Soul. That is the name I gave my book. See the keywords here. The keywords are journey and lost, right? So I identified myself as I'm on a journey. It's not ended yet. I'm on a path, but I'm lost, right? So journey of a lost soul. And then the next question, describe it in one line. My line was, it's mostly light, because my racket feeling was, I'm a happy-go-lucky person. I take everything very cool. I have no deep emotions. Anybody says anything to me, I'm okay with it. I don't care. That sort of this thing. So mostly light, but with heavy emotions thrown in. Because I did have deep issues with my mom, issues with my self-image, I had some solid issues, right? The third thing is, what are the emotions that are primarily seen in the script? My answer was anger, number 1, because that's my number 1 racket feeling. Love, understanding, and conflict, right? It says a lot. Anger was I used to react to everything with anger, right? So that's sort of this thing. Then what would the reader feel when they read your book? The reader would be sad, feel sorry at first, but towards the end, he would feel great and empowered with a new faith in life. This was my answer. Why was this my answer? Because at that point of time when I was answering this question, I had gone through a year of therapy, and I had understood myself, and I knew that I could change my life script, and I had more empowerment in myself and more belief in myself. So I was able to write this. And then the story will end with the protagonist surrounded by love and family, admired and loved and feeling fulfilled. So this was for the question, how the story ends. So you see, this will give me an idea into what is my entire life, especially the first 3 questions or the first 4 questions will tell me what my life scripts are. It'll give me an inkling. Of course, you need to go and study what are life scripts, what are the different kinds of life scripts, and then see what resonates with what you have written here. So first do this exercise and then go read up about transactional analysis life script. Then there are different types of life script. Then you can see which resonates with you. And that will help.
One other thing that I've seen, Doc, and maybe this is remotely or directly related to the concept of racket feelings, but I've heard or I've seen people, right, portray, let us say, their personal life to look something like a tragedy, as if there's a bad relationship between the person and his or her spouse, right? Or not to, have all the, good things in life, and, which makes you get into a feeling of, gosh, I don't know that there's somebody, so is it also to kind of garner some sort of support, or so that you don't go hard? And I'm talking from my corporate life experience and background. Let's say somebody's done a shoddy's job or is a very mediocre kind of thing, right? So he plays his personal life out, and then you tend to kind of be a little biased to say that, hey, you know what, with so much of handicaps, this guy's delivered this much, right? So is that also a well thought out strategy by some?
I wouldn't say consciously.
Okay.
But now let me give you a life script. If the person's life script is don't grow up, be helpless, be a kid throughout your life.
Okay.
If that's the life script of the person, now think about it in that manner. What does a child who's not able to take care of himself or herself, who's a helpless little kid, what does he or she do when there is a demand for something in his, let's say he's hungry or he's thirsty or he wants to play, or what does he do? He cries.
He cries, yeah.
And what does the crying do to you? It evokes feelings of protectiveness. It evokes feeling like, oh my God, he's crying. Let me go take care of him.
Absolutely.
You see?
Yeah.
So it's not done consciously, as I would say majoritarily, it's not done consciously. It's an unconscious life script. So let's say this person has a life script of don't grow up or don't make it. If, like, for example, I had a life script of don't make it. No matter how much I tried, I was not allowed. I mean, my life script was, you will never be good enough, no matter what you do. If you come first in class, okay, there are lots of people who come first in class, big deal, that sort of thing. So once that is identified, I could relate back saying that and it still happens. I mean, I can give you an example right now. Why was it everybody had the same time as me? In fact, you guys were much more busier than me, I would say. Why wasn't I able to submit my assignments? Self-sabotage, because I am like, don't make it. That's my life script.
That's a great example, yeah.
Don't make it. It's as simple as, and I have to fight it every single day, be aware of it every single day. So that's my, you get the point now, right? Me not completing the assignments, me not being able to meet deadlines. That's my don't make it injunction. That's my life script. So it comes across as that. And I fight it every single day. So it's a daily battle for me. So yeah, Jemin, why don't you say something, take it forward.
No, all good. It's going all beautifully. I mean, I'm just learning. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, the real point, what Pilar asked and what Dr. you answered eventually is the pattern, and there is always this world of nature versus nurture, and a lot of these fraudulent behaviors. I think we discussed last time where people say it's just, I mean, it's all pattern and you will follow it eventually, right? There is no free will. I think we discussed this last time. And just for the group, I mean, that would be my last sentence. But I mean, if we want to do CBT, we do it. But I just want to remind the group of what Viktor Frankl said, and then Alessandra echoed it last time when we said it, that we are a lot like animals, humans, right? And I'm not sure if I'm quoting him right, but we are a lot like animals, he said. But there is one fundamental thing that differentiates us, and we are much more than that. And one fundamental thing that differentiates us is our attitude when faced with the issues or situations. Yeah, that freedom to choose our attitude. So just coming up to the last example, that yes, maybe we sabotaged ourselves and we did not submit the assignment. That could be the pattern, but your attitude towards it, now that I laugh at it, that I know that pattern, versus damn, I cannot, and I am completely falling into that pattern. That attitude towards that pattern is, nobody can take it away from us as humans, and that is something that can start changing things very powerfully.
Absolutely. And it starts building that new modified life script, and it starts I will start being more authentic towards it, like I accept it. That's part of this thing. So
But I mean, I didn't complete all your questions, but the name of my book was like Exploring Yourself. I don't know why I wrote, but
that's what I'm saying.
I always felt that I've not
it's great if you
parts of me I've still not seen.
Exactly. That's what I said. It's great if you could write the answers before you know about life scripts, about all this stuff, because those answers are more authentic. They're more like, now it might be a little bit more doctored. It could not be. It's possible. So it's a very good exercise to do with somebody whom, if you want to learn their life script, or if you want them to learn about their own life script.
But I think key takeaway for me, like many, would be to actually try and be aware of racket feelings when they are actually emerging, and try and be authentic to display what should have been the actual feeling. I mean, I'm not a perfectionist, but I'm going to be a little conscious about that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to reach that stage, but because they are more than often reactive, because you're already programmed, that this will be the racket feeling which will come out, right?
Absolutely. Like the first step for everything is awareness. I mean, no matter what we say in whether it's transaction analysis, whether it's CBT or even psychology or counseling or anything, the first thing is to be aware of what's happening inside. Now, once that awareness is there, then we can take the next step forward, and then we can come to the adult ego state and kind of converse.
To that, I think what I wanted to, sorry for cutting you.
Sure.
The last question, and that is what I wanted to tell. When we talk about first step being awareness, and that the last question was for me, how would your book end? And I said it goes back to the start, full circle. What I wanted to say is that if the first step is awareness, that very well can be the last step. Yeah, I mean, it just goes the full circle back to where we started, and then maybe it was all just really.
Hey, Doc, and yeah, absolutely great. Yeah. And Doc, one question I had was, I mean, I'm caught between an 18-year-old adolescent and a 9-year-old kid, the second one. So I'm just wondering if the life scripts have already not been there for my second one. Can I actually introduce through examples or leading by example some life scripts into the second one? Or these would have already been there now in place, that she's a 9-year-old?
Well, as far as I know, with respect to the theory that I know, it says that 7 years, but I'm pretty sure it's not a hard and fast rule. I mean, like I said, once a life script is there, you can always modify it. So you can teach the children to, first of all, acknowledge their own authentic feelings rather than cover it up with a racket feeling. Like, for example, I do that with my son. When I speak to him and I can see that he's angry, and he's, he just kind of hangs his head for his low marks or whatever it is, and he walks off like he's sad or something. But I know because of my talking to him, he is angry. I will actually go and ask him, like, tell me how you're feeling about me. What would you like to do to me right now? And I've had notes from him saying that, Mommy, when you were yelling at me, I have actually used the F word in my mind for you, So I have acknowledged that, and I have, told him that I validate this feeling of yours. I validate the fact that you felt like this at that moment towards me. But what do you feel about it now? So then he is like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that and everything. So I'm like, both of them are okay at that point of time. Both of them are okay. And I'm proud of you that you didn't bring that word out from your mind and say it with your mouth to me, right? So you were able to, so I validate that feeling and I give him that praise saying that, the control was there or whatever. Like, again, it's not perfect. It's not like I know what I'm doing 100%, but this is how I am trying to validate his feelings. I'm trying to tell him it's okay to cry, even though you're a 13-year-old boy, it's okay to cry if you are hurt. Like, don't worry about it. If you want to shed tears, do it, and don't use that as a crutch, but yeah, do it. Or
Yeah,
if
maybe that was one of my life scripts, Men Don't Cry. And now I end up crying watching TV serials. So, in terms of positive reaffirmations, because that's something which is not you, right?
Right.
Okay, I think
fantastic session.
Yeah, I think the session was already very good. Doctor, I'm not sure, your call. I mean, and everybody else, if we have time, we can still look at how racket failings can cover up into the CBT kind of, etc. But I think so far it has been very good already. We can end it here as well. Yeah, and not take it at a turn. But I mean, Doctor, your call. And everybody else, what do you, Pilar, you have been very quiet today.
Yeah, you have. And so is Vidya, actually.
Yeah, Vidya.
This is my first session, and I've been actually listening because this has been actually helping me to think through my situation. So, yeah, it's been really helpful for me. I'm just trying to be listened to.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Pilar, I'd like to hear from you. Yes, Alessandra.
I just have like one little thing in the I would like to ask, because of all you've been saying, from what I can see, racket feelings are like the clue also to self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes.
I believe all this about myself because I have that life script.
Yes.
So I do everything, including using racket feelings to make it true.
Make it true, exactly. And that causes the reinforcing beliefs, you see? So it's like a loop. I will behave this way, I will feel this, but I'm not allowed to feel this, so I will racket feel this. And because I racket feel this, this is how people behave with me because of this racket feeling. Mm-hmm. And that reinforces my belief that I'm not good enough.
And it's like a vicious cycle.
Exactly. So that's the difference between, like I said, every feeling has a purpose behind it. And we discussed what are the purposes of the 4 main feelings, right? The difference between authentic feeling and racket feeling is authentic feeling always gives you a solution to the problem that you're in. So if it is fear, if the wild animal is attacking me, and if I rightly experience fear, I will either fight or flight. I will basically save myself, right? Now, if the racket feeling is anger, like, how the hell is this bull coming towards me? How dare you come towards me? You see, it's not working. It's not serving a purpose. It goes against serving a purpose. So racket feelings are feelings that do not serve any purpose. They do not help you solve that problem that you're in. Fear, anger, happiness, and sadness, if expressed authentically, will help an individual solve the problem they are in at that moment. Anger shows you that somewhere your boundary is being breached by someone in some way. Fear shows you there is something threatening you in your environment. That's why you're feeling the fear. Sadness shows you that there is some loss somewhere. Possibly you haven't even realized what loss it is, but there is some loss somewhere. And that's why you're feeling the sadness. And of course, happiness shows that there is something to be happy about. And that's the reason why that feeling is coming up. So you see, each one forms a particular answer to a particular problem. But if it's a racket feeling, if somebody has hurt me and I'm angry, how is that anger helping me deal with my hurt? It's not. It doesn't give me a solution. It doesn't give me a reason why that anger is there. That is the racket feeling. So,
is there a positive spin to racket feelings also? Changing a situation. Like for example, I'm depressed or I'm sad, and then I put up a racket feeling, and then probably I hit the gym or something like that, which actually does good.
Yes.
In terms of not myself, but the racket feeling helps the person.
Can you hear me? Am I?
Yes.
I'm just trying to see a particular slide that I'd opened up.
Yeah.
So can you see me? Am I still?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because the Zoom is behind my this thing over here. So the feelings, the question was, are all racket feelings bad? The answer to that is not all racket feelings can be categorized as bad by the people who experience it. There are certain good racket feelings. For example, feeling of happiness when there is no real reason to feel happiness. Feeling of blamelessness. You don't blame anybody for, let's say, whatever you're going through. That's a positive racket feeling, isn't it? You don't blame anybody, so you're not depressed. So you're like, okay, whatever, I accept fate. That is still a racket feeling, but it's a positive racket feeling. But it's not authentic. That is the only difference. It's not authentic. Like somebody does something really bad to you, like cheats you of $1 million, right? You have the anger, you have the sadness of the loss, you have the anger of breach of territory or whatever it is. But you say, you know what? That's okay. I forgive him. Big deal. Let it go. That's a racket feeling, although it's positive, right? It's positive, but it's a racket feeling because it's not authentic. That doesn't help me solve the problem of my loss, solve the problem of dealing with my breach of territory, which is that anger. It doesn't help me with any of that. It just helps me deal with it in a very pragmatic manner, in a very, it's not in the here and now. It doesn't deal with my feelings. So it's not authentic. It need not be bad, but it's not authentic. That's the only. So positive spin, where you put less stress on yourself, I guess, because you're not worried about the $100 million, the $1 million you've lost. But the thing is, it's not authentic. That's the only thing. Pilar, anything?
Well, I have been quiet with you, but the dialogue with the notebook has been long. And I'm also not feeling that good. I miswashed a lettuce and got a parasite. So I'm in antibiotics and stuff and pain. So it happens. It's life. I guess all of us have gone through I miswashed the salad.
Yes.
Frankel Victor attitude in action.
Yes.
Sorry, Pilar. Please.
No, the worst thing is that I cannot eat everything that I want to eat. And today it's candy day.
Oh, today's candy day. True.
That's a loss. That's anger. Other than that, I was going through the questions, and and it's interesting thinking where I went and the title, and it's a very hopeful title, the one of my book. It's called Late Blooming. Late blooming. I mean, everything that I'm forbidden to do, that you can now do because everybody else is dead, which is a very horrible thing to say. But actually, my freedom comes from the death of people. It's breaking. It's a breaking thing, and just going through that, because it came like this. I didn't think about it. I just answer in the second, because that's the way you have to do things. We say in my country, en caliente, on the spot.
On the spot.
No warming, no nothing, just go there. And the discovery was very good, though the main emotions were rage, fear, and self-pity. That it's where I'm coming from. And I wish I could get really angry, really explode my anger somehow. So if you ever come across the Mr. Hyde formula or gamma ray to Hulk me up, just to steam up the received violence from so many years. I'm the perfect test subject.
We need to put you into one of the Marvel stuff now.
I know.
No, if I could be the body image of the new Black Widow, chubby ladies of the world, we are on.
Yeah, that's it from my side. What would you like to do, Jemin?
No, I think it was very fantastic. I would not want to change
session. Great session.
Vidya?
Doc, yeah. So as I said earlier, thanks, Doc. I think this session really helped me to find, let me think through my situation. It's been a while that I am aware of my childhood issues being a problem to me at this point of time. I've been trying to see ways. I've been trying to go to a few therapy sessions. I think I keep talking to Jemin also about it, and quite a few things. But this particular sessions, the giveaway for me would be, or the takeaway for me would be like your point on building positive scripts. I think, yeah, that's something that I'm going to take new from this. And thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you, Vidya. Thank you for sharing.
Fantastic. I stopped the recording at least